Okay, here we're doing another episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. To have a really cool review for you guys from the brand RZE. A little about them. They're a newer microbrand upstart where the founder was actually a key designer from another popular microbrand who has since set out to create a new vision from the ground up. And in terms of the type of watch, you guys can see this definitely has that everyday adventure watch vibe. Some key common characteristics, and when you're looking for something that you can wear within this genre, of course, you're going to want something that's sporty, legible, and tough. This is actually an upgraded model of their original watch known as the Resolute. This is in Pro spec. So this is a Resolute Pro with the medallion yellow enamel dial, which is a signature color to RZE if you guys are a fan. Now, this essentially is the most refined iteration of their titanium field watch that started it all. It's crafted from ultra durable, lightweight titanium, beautifully brushed and coated with their proprietary Ultra Hex hard coating, which is great for scratch resistance and still keeps the titanium actually looking pretty bright. Some would say even brighter than, or at least equal to steel, which is definitely something you don't typically see when it comes to titanium watches. Typically they have that darker tint. A lot of brands will just have them in kind of more of a matte blasted or tumbled finish. Here you're getting a lot of the perks of stainless steel, but also all of the qualities you would expect, of course, from titanium, which I think is really great. Also, the Resolute Pro features an upgraded bracelet with an on-the-fly micro-adjustable clasp, which is outstanding. You also do get an applied logo on that outstanding dial. So you guys can get this for $629 direct, or you can actually opt for an eco-friendly no pouch option, which will save you another $20, so you can get it for actually $609. And these are currently on pre-order with late January / early February 2024 estimated ship dates. So with that said, let's go ahead, zoom the camera out, get this piece in hand, and take a closer look. Okay guys, as you can see, the RZE brand has really expanded within this EDC everyday adventure space, right? So your everyday carry, things you're gonna have. I love that it's, more of a fleshed out brand versus just a couple of individual products right underneath a shared name. They really have their own theme, and they've executed to that at a very high level for a lot of different products, many of which I've been able to review on the channel, and some of which you guys are getting a sneak preview for here. I mean, I did, of course, already review this awesome big idea design collaboration pen that they did. Little side click action, actually side click on either side, which is very cool. And you have this adjustable piece here, which means that you're actually gonna be able to put in pretty much any different type of refill that you like. So very versatile, very cool. Here's a little sneak peek here. Very nice little lanyard bead and some lanyard string there. Very nice, and of course does mimic the crown on the watch. So I like that they have things that definitely represent them that are in theme. And then you guys, if you're fans of the channel, you might have seen my previous video on the original iteration of this that they actually ended up not executing on, but this is the newer upgraded model, frame lock, which is really, really nice. So definitely keep an eye out for a review on that eventually there. So very, very cool. Deep carry pocket clip, I dig that. And then in the backdrop here, you actually have one of their new Quest bags. This is the 25-liter option, which is the slightly smaller one. And man, this thing is really awesome. You even get the pull tag, right? Assembled for adventure. I'll still have to fill all that info out, but I don't know. There's something that's just, it all comes together. And here, of course, their signature medallion yellow dial. Some of you are looking at this saying, hey, it looks kind of orangey. Well, I guess that's a good way to describe it. You could say it's an orange with no red in it, right? Definitely skews more on the golden yellow tone. Think kind of school bus yellow, right? So very, very cool. Has a wonderful pop. And it is very signature. It's not just a basic orange or a basic yellow. It's definitely somewhere in between, and I really dig that. And of course, you guys can see that the depth of the dial, beautifully done. That nice glossy enamel contrasts extremely well off of these wonderfully tall applied indices, and of course that nicely applied logo. So very sharp, feels a lot more premium, which is cool. And it's, kind of a byproduct of micro brands in general. They're always looking to improve and iterate. And that's something that I really like about collecting within the micro brand space. So jumping into some of the details here, 40 millimeters in diameter, but that does include the crown guard and of course these little side humps, which do keep the symmetry really on point, which ties in of course to that beautifully symmetrical dial since there's no date. But if I was to measure this, like let's say from 2 to 8 o'clock, it's actually closer to a 39.5. So for those of you who might think a 40 millimeter watch in this diameter is just too big for your wrist, I will say, give this one a shot, because at 39.5 from 2 to 8 o'clock, that's really how it's going to wear. Of course, it does have a bit of an expansive dial, but it is nicely spaced out, and it just really keeps a nice punch visually, which I think works really well for larger wrists, but isn't going to overwhelm smaller wrists, because again, technically this is probably closer to a 39.5 than it is to a 40, right? Because you would never really count crown guards in terms of the width on any other watch. Again, full titanium construction, fully brushed, nicely done. Only 10.5 millimeters thick, guys. And some of you might be thinking it doesn't seem that thin. And a lot of that is just because it has a heavy design language. It has all these facets and everything like that. But I like that. I like that it has a lot of visual punch, but then you get it in hand and you're like, oh, this thing is quite slim. I really like that. It's light, right? Because it's titanium. And the titanium isn't dull. It's not, super dark, which is cool to a certain extent. But when it comes to, of course, everyday versatility, it's nice to have that brightness that you would normally associate with steel. And you're getting that ultra hex hard coating, which of course is going to be hard up to about 1200 HV. So those hardness Vickers are very nice in terms of scratch resistance there. So very, very cool. Now, this crystal is, of course, a flat sapphire with some really great AR coating, because you can see there, it's very clear. You feel like you could almost reach in and touch that dial, which I dig. Now, the crown, as you guys saw mimicked within that really cool titanium bead, is really a nice size, guys. I dig that. Great to actuate. I typically don't cover this within reviews because I think, a crown should always be good. I'll mention if it's bad maybe, but maybe not enough mentioning if it's actually really good to work. And I have to tell you guys, this is a good one. I really do enjoy utilizing this screw down crown. So very nice, good size, doesn't stick out too much, right? But it's nice and wide in terms of that toothy grip, which I can appreciate. Now, inside, although you can't see it because this is, this is a tool watch, and they're happy about that, and they're keeping it slim along the profile there. Again, physically slim, but visually a lot to enjoy, which I think is a nice balance. I'd rather have it this way than the other way around versus, sometimes you see Tudor with the big slab sides and everything, and it's just like, they could have done more to, I think, to impress us. Here, there's so much work that's put in to really delight the owner. So, although you can't see it, you actually do have the Miyota 90 S5 movement, which is going to be a nice no date movement, which means no ghost position on the crown, which is, something that can be a bit of a nitpick for some. Some people don't really care as much, but it's very cool to just say, hey, look, they got the right movement for the right type of watch. Now, getting into this dial, which is really a shining star here, guys. Again, it's not for everyone, but they do have this in a black or a white dial. I think I'm leaning towards the white dial. I don't know, white enamel dials have really been speaking to me lately, but let me know down in the comments below. Obviously, the black dial will be classic as well. This dial, though, definitely pops, and it's just, it exudes fun and adventure and just action. So you do get that glossy enamel dial, applied indices. There's no date to throw anything off there, so nice and symmetrical, beautifully balanced. You're getting Swiss Superluminova that goes blue with some green accents, and you can probably see already where they would be there at the 3, 6, and 9 positions. Of course, you're going to have that nice reference there at the triangle at 12, so you're going to have really good orientation in the dark. The water resistance is 100 meters, and it does have, of course, Viton gaskets, which is great. So you can really trust in that 10 atmospheres of protection. And then getting to the bracelet, 20 millimeter lugs. You're also getting drilled lugs. You're also getting toolless spring bars, so you can quickly remove these, which is great. Screw in connecting pins in terms of the construction, what we all asked for. A nice taper from 20 down to 16 to this beautifully milled, which we didn't even get to yet. This is one of the great things about this watch and this particular trim and future trims, of course, of RZE Pro spec watches is this beautiful clasp, nicely milled push button. The buttons are milled as well. You open it up and check it out. Boom. You have this really great toolless micro adjust. You just press this down and then you can ratchet back in, but you cannot pull out. So you do have to take it off for you to adjust it. But the nice thing is you don't have to bust out any tools. And if your wrist swells, especially with the use case of this as an adventure watch, it definitely, while you're out there, you might start off the day nice and trim, but then of course as things heat up you can swell and your wrist can swell, especially in the summertime. So that is a really nice feature to have and something that I absolutely always appreciate, especially in this very svelte package. Look at how well that flows. So really, really nice. I dig that. Beautifully brushed all the way through, and again, of course, all hard coated. So with that said, let's actually get this piece on the wrist and see how it wears. Okay guys, as you can see on my 7.5 inch wrist, this wears really, really well. Check out the details, beautiful drape, wonderfully articulated H links there, and it looks very signature of the watch. That's one of the things I really love about this piece, is that it is not derivative. I mean, it just looks like its own thing, and its own thing is good, and it's so hard to establish that. No, they didn't invent H links or angular cases or the adventure space, but they're doing something in it that just feels really natural to their brand, right? It feels organic. It doesn't feel like they're trying to, to catch your eye in a certain way. They're really just being themselves, and that is where you really find things to be interested in. Like, none of this is a stunt or a gimmick. This is just really nice work. Of course, if I get my wrist a bit too close to the camera there, you're going to get some perspective distortion. It's going to seem quite large. So what I like to do is keep my wrist nice and low and then just tighten up the frame here so you guys can get still a more detailed look, but possibly, just a truer aspect ratio of how this may sit on your own wrist there. So ooh, I love the brightness on the titanium. I love the feel of this titanium. Of course, I do like a nice, hefty, sporty steel watch. But again, this is, for its intended purpose, this is supposed to be this fun adventure piece. So hardened titanium for me is just like, that's the recipe. That's what it should be. And man, this looks awesome. Wears just beautifully, guys. It's not something I would say you would forget while it's on your wrist. It definitely still has that level of heft. This isn't some dress watch. It's just going to mold to your wrist and be, kind of dainty and you forget about it. You're going to remember this is on your wrist, but it's not going to be weighing you down. It's not going to overwhelm anything. You'll be able to, of course, when you are, when you do have to go on an expedition or you do have something to do, of course, you're not going to weigh yourself down. So no worry of wrist fatigue of any kind here. This thing is just really well put together, and everything again just feels buttoned up, and it just all falls within theme. So with that said, let's go ahead and get some Lume shots, the light transition, and closing thoughts. Okay guys, let's go ahead and hit the lights here. Yes, as you can see, wow, this Lume pops, I would say class leading even. This is really outstanding. This is diver level Lume. You also still do get, of course, that full symmetry, but you're also getting nice cardinal reference in terms of where 12 o'clock is. 6, 3, 6, and 9 do have those nice accents as well. So very, very cool. But one thing I always like to work in, of course, is a bit of a low light transition, because you're not always going to be out in the middle of a field enjoying direct sunlight. A lot of times you're going to find yourself coming in and out of buildings, walking underneath overhangs, or just hanging out underneath the shade of a tree. So it is really nice to see what these colors, textures, and finishes render like in less than optimal lighting. So you include a little bit of harsh lighting, guys, to where you might expose any types of production defects, but you guys can see here, Even though this is a pressed loaner that has, made it through a couple stops before it got to me, it's still in relatively nice condition, which I think is great, especially considering that this is a brand, when they send stuff around, people take their stuff and really, take it to the top of a mountain. I'm probably one of the few tabletop type of reviewers that are going to get their hands on this. They're going to get probably a lot more of the lifestyle types that are going to be, really putting this through its paces. So really, really beautiful, guys. You can see again that color does transition, in between kind of yellows and oranges, but never into kind of that reddish orange that you might associate, let's say, with dive watches, right? You're not going to match it with that. So if you have some straps that you think go well in terms of orange, that this is a very particular color. Actually, I think this could look really great with a green strap or a blue strap, and of course it'll look great on a black strap. But this bracelet, I'm a bracelet guy, this thing is so nice. You don't necessarily need any of that, but look at how just sharp that thing is. Even regardless, the dial never wants to wash out. I love that. And again, I'm not huge on yellow dials, but man, this thing there's something special about it, and I can definitely see the allure here. So for me, guys, closing thoughts on the wrist: really perfect Goldilocks sizing, super lightweight without feeling insubstantial or, cheap or anything like that, which is great. In terms of model variants, definitely check the site for current options and availability, but off the top of my head, they do have a white dial and a black dial option in this Pro spec. And of course, they do have the standard Resolutes as well, still available at a reduced cost. Now, comparable models, guys, there's a ton of other titanium field watches you can get on Bracelet. And specifically, I've reviewed and even compared a bunch of them on this channel. And I think what RZE has done really helps kind of separate them from the pack to where I would say this might be one of the best options out there if you're looking for that titanium kind of do it all, go anywhere, do anything type of watch. This makes an amazing case, right? It has a signature look. It's coated, it's bright, it has nice angles, everything is just a little bit sharper, a little bit more well defined, a little bit more premium feeling here, and the price isn't that much more expensive at $629. So, and that's if you want to go for the you don't get the little storage pouch, so you can, that's with the storage pouch, so you can save money by opting out. But they make such quality gear, it's like, why not spend the extra, get the cool pouch, especially if you're going to use it for EDC gear. So let me know, guys, what you think down in the comments below. But for me, this is probably one of my favorite new modern go anywhere, do anything watches. Even in today's hyper competitive landscape, this one is really, really cool, and I dig it. And again, for the fact that it feels very contemporary, it feels very modern, it just feels fresh, and I think that's really accentuated with the dial color choice, and of course just RZE in general and what they're doing as a brand just feels really fresh to me. So if you liked the video, please do it like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.